Good morning to all. Am I audible? Okay. And the slides are also visible to you? Okay. So today we are going to learn about interrupts in 8051 microcontroller. Okay. So what are the interrupts? Interrupts are generally, or you can say, is like a disturbance. Okay, that stops the CPU or your central processing unit to perform its current task and look into that disturbance. Okay, for example, if you are watching, a simple example is like when you are watching a movie in your mobile phone and suddenly a WhatsApp notification pop up. Okay, then if you stop watching movie and check that WhatsApp notification, that it works like a interrupt. You are doing a work, some continuous work, and suddenly a notification or a disturbance come. Okay, that interrupts your current processing, and then you look into that interrupts. What are that interrupts about, or what are that disturbance about? So similarly, interrupts are in this regard. Similarly, interrupts are in CPUs. Okay, so but generally CPU runs a program. Okay, so when CPU is continuously running a program and some other device, whether it is an internal device or an outer device, a peripheral device, for example an LED, for a hexa keypad or your simple keyboard. Okay, it wants to communicate with your CPU. Okay, so that device generates an interrupts. Okay, or a disturbance. So what that disturbance do? It disturbs the CPU, means the CPU stops its current execution. Okay, and then look into that interrupts, and whatever that interrupts is about, it perform starting those tasks regarding that interrupts. So we can say okay, an interrupt is an external or internal event that interrupts the microcontroller to inform it that a device needs its service. So device needs its service is basically interrupt. So you can say interrupt is a way of communication of devices to CPU. Whenever an internal device, what are the internal devices in 8051? There are basically two internal devices that interrupts, that wants to communicate with CPU, that is your timer 0 and timer 1. Apart from that, there is a serial communication device, also serial port also. So if a serial device connected with that serial port wants to communicate with CPU, then a serial then that is also you can say categorized as an interrupt. And other than that, there are we have studied that there are two external interrupt port, INT0 and INT1. So INT0 and INT1 are two pins for external interrupt. Okay, so whenever an external interrupt means any peripheral devices that is connected to your microcontroller chip. It can be a hexa keypad, it can be a external timer, it can be a segment timer counter. Okay, or it can be a normal keyboard or mouse, whatever connected to external device connected to your microcontroller is called as external peripheral device. So if external device wants to communicate with your CPU, then it generates external interrupt. And if any internal component or internal device wants to communicate with your CPU, that is generated internal interrupts. Okay, and interrupts are of two types, or you can say this communication of device can communicate with CPU, or CPU can communicate with device by two types. First one is using interrupt method, and second one using in polling method. So generally we use the interrupts method because they are efficient compared to polling method. Okay, so what happened in interrupt method? in interrupt method, CPU generally do its normal work, whatever program it is executing, it executes in the program, and whenever a device wants to communicate with CPU, it generates its interrupts, okay, and disturb the CPU. And what happened in polling? In polling, CPU, whenever CPU is running its normal program, it's time to time also check its devices, whatever devices are connected with the CPU. It also checks the devices whether devices need a CPU, wants to communicate with the CPU or not. Or simply you can say that for suppose you are let's go back to our movie example. If you are watching a movie on your mobile and you disable all your notifications, you have disabled all of your notifications, and you want to see that whether a new Gmail mail is arrived or not, or whether a new WhatsApp message is arrived or not. So what you do, if you disabled all the notification, no notification window come on the top of the movie screen, so you stop the what you will do, you watch the movie screen for a particular time, then you pause the watching the movie, and you check your Gmail, okay, whether the new notification came or not. After that, then you check your WhatsApp group whether a new notification came or come or not. Then you check another thing whether that is had new task or not, okay. So this type of method is called polling, where CPU is working, stops its current working, and look at all the devices that is connected with the CPU to check whether these devices wants to communicate with CPU or not. And in case of interrupt, in this regard, CPU wastage much time in checking devices whether they wants to communicate with CPU or not, okay. So if a device doesn't want to communicate with CPU, in polling method, CPU still check with that device. For example, whether a new mail is come or not, you still check your Gmail, okay. If there is no new mail come, then that time is wasted that you took for checking your Gmail, okay. If a new mail is come, then that time is not waste. But what happened in interrupt? In interrupt, CPU does not care about the devices. It generally do its task, and whenever a device wants to communicate, it generates the disturb or interrupts, and CPU knows, okay, now this device wants to communicate with me, so I will check for what task had to be done, okay. Simply, if you enable your notification, so you don't worry about whether a new mail is come or not, you just watch your movie. Whenever a new mail is come, a notification pop up, and you will know, okay, a new Gmail is come, now I will look into the Gmail. So that is the difference between interrupt and polling. Polling take too much resources of CPU time, where the interrupts are very efficient, okay. So why interrupts? Whenever any interrupt needs the device, it services the device notifies the microcontroller by sending it an interrupt signal. Upon receiving an interrupt signal, the microcontroller or your CPU interrupts whatever it is doing and serves the disturbance. Means it stops its current execution and starts the service that device requires. Okay. The program which is associated with the interrupt is called the interrupt service routine or interrupt handler. Okay. So we have seen there are two types of memories in microcontroller. One is program memory known as ROM, other is data memory known as RAM. Okay. So in program memory, your program is written and CPU is running that program. Apart from these two, there is also a memory that is called interrupt service routine. Okay. In case of interrupt, these interrupt service routine or interrupt handler has a specific you can say defined task. Whenever interrupt is generated in 8051, we see which type of instruction is that by looking into the interrupt service routine and then perform those tasks. Okay. So in 805 there are 5 type of interrupts. So there are 5 type in interrupt service routine, there are 5 type of interrupt services. So whenever a device generates any interrupts, the microcontroller look into what kind of interrupt it is by using interrupt service routine and perform those tasks. Okay. In polling, the microcontroller continuously monitors the status of a given device, whether device needed the CPU resource or not. The CPU continuously monitors the given device, and then the condition is met, it performs the services. It means if a device needs the CPU time, so CPU perform those interrupts, and then CPU move to the next device to perform its task. So in polling, the checking or monitoring of these devices, whether they required CPU resources or any inter-service routine, is wasted. Okay, the time during that continuous monitoring is wasted. So we mostly use interrupts instead of polling. So the disadvantage of polling is polling method is not efficient. It wastes much of the microcontroller time by polling devices that do not need services. Interrupt is that CPU can perform its task. It does not have to look into the devices, and whenever interrupt generated, CPU stop its current microcontroller or CPU stop its current execution and perform its task. Then another major advantage is priority. In polling, there is no priority to the interrupts. Okay, so for example, there are 4 devices. So CPU goes to those devices in round robin seven. First, it will check in polling. It will check device 1, then device 2, then device 3, then device 4. So in that fashion, it always checks the devices. Suppose device 4 needs a task to be performed first, but it will go. But in polling, CPU will go for to the device 4 when it satisfies the condition device first, second, third, and 4. So in interrupts, we can also assign the priority to the devices. That is another major advantage of interrupts. We can assign the priorities. So and that priority define which interrupts should be handled first. Also, in interrupts, we can mask the interrupts. Masking means we can disable or enable the interrupts. Whether an interrupt is come, we want to perform it. A CPU wants to perform it or not. We can mask or disable or enable that interrupts. Okay. So how interrupts work? This is a program when there is no interrupt. So if there is no interrupt, your main program is executing. Okay, and suppose there is an inter-service routine in your CPU or microcontroller. So main program is executing. Then a device interrupts the CPU. So CPU go to the inter-service routine, perform those tasks, and then come back to the main program. Then again main program is executing. Then again second interrupt or next interrupt occur. Then CPU satisfy that in inter-service, and then again after satisfying that, it come back to executing its main program. So in this fashion, whenever interrupt can, CPU stop is performing main task and perform the whatever inter-service required. Okay. Then the task or steps when an interrupt is executed. What are the main steps in interrupt? So what are the steps whenever CPU is executing its main program? Okay, so suppose it executing a particular any instruction, current instruction, and interrupts occur. Okay, so if an interrupt occur, CPU stops its current execution, but it not stop is the its current execution. It completes its current execution and stops for the next execution. So after completing the current execution, CPU stores the program counter states, because program counters knows what is the next instruction. So CPU stores the program counter state address, whatever the status of the program counter is stored, that is into stack, and what are the various register, flag register. There are many flag register. For example, after instruction a carry bit is set, or a override bit is set, or a flag bit is set. So all those program status word which are set, which whatever the status of those program status word register or flag register, those are also saved into the stack. Okay, after saving the program counter and program status word of flag register, the CPU goes to the inter-service routine. CPU checks which inter-service routine is asked for. CPU goes back to that inter-service routine, check into the inter-service routine, and perform the task related to that interrupt. After performing the task related to that interrupt, the last execution in inter-service routine is return. Okay, so as well as those return statement is executed by the CPU came back to the executing the main program. So before executing the main program, what it do? It to first pop up the program counter from that was stored in the stack, and then it pop up all the flag register that was stored in the stacks, and then after retrieving the program counter and flag register, is to start executing the main program. Okay, so these are the main step in executing any interrupts. So first, it finishes the instruction that is currently executing is same the address of the next instruction PC on the stack. Save the current status. Current status means all the flag register that are stored in the your program save world register. Those are also saved into the stack. Then it jump to the fixed location in memory called the interrupt vector table. Okay, from interrupt vector table, get the address of the ISR from the interrupt vector table. Okay, each interrupt has a specific address. So from interrupt vector table we get that interrupt address, and from that address we jump to that location in ISR inter service routine and perform that routine. Okay, it is start to execute the interrupt service, and the last statement of every interrupt service is return I. Okay, return from interrupt, RETI. So as soon as this instruction RETI is occurred, the our interrupt execution is performed, or you can say finished, and CPU comes back to the main program. So what happens in the main program? It returns to the place where it was interrupted. Okay. So these are the main steps of the in executing interrupt. Now the types of interrupt or classification of interrupt. Interrupt can be classified basically in three categories, two of which already known: external interrupt or internal interrupt. External interrupt are those interrupt that executed by executed by external devices, peripheral devices, and internal interrupt are those interrupt that interrupt generated by the internal devices. Okay. Apart from those, there are two type of other classification. First one is mask interrupt and non-maskable interrupt. What are the maskable interrupt? Maskable interrupts are those interrupts that can be disabled. Okay, so for example, you can disable your WhatsApp notification. So whenever you are watching a movie, no WhatsApp notification can come. Okay, so this type of interrupt that you can disable, or CPU can ignore these interrupts. Those are called maskable interrupts. And there are some interrupts that cannot be disabled. Okay, so for example, when you are watching movie and phone call can, so the phone call cannot be disabled. It will always you have to stop the program. Okay, your whatever current program you are doing, and you will have to attend the that phone call. Okay, so you cannot disable the that phone call you can task. Okay, so that type of interrupts are called non-maskable interrupts that cannot be disabled by the CPU. So generally critical or fatal type of detection came into the non-maskable interrupts that cannot be ignored by the CPU, or you can say reset interrupts is also a type of non-maskable interrupt. Whenever you press the reset button, CPU will always reset the whole program. Okay, whole system. It will not it cannot disable the maskable it cannot disable the reset function. Okay, then there are vector and non-vector interrupts. Vector interrupts are those interrupts for which the location of the ISR, we already know the location of the ISR. Every interrupt has a location that is called its vector address. So if any interrupt has that particular vector address, okay, then it is known as vector address, vector interrupts, because we know what type of interrupt it is. And a non-vector interrupts, in non-vector interrupts, we don't know what type of interrupt it is. CPU have to determine or look into the ISR for that particular type of interrupts. Okay, so there are two type of interrupts: vector interrupts, in which peripheral devices, no peripheral devices generally vector interrupts and non-vector interrupts are generated by the external devices. So if any external device also gives the address of the interrupts, so it is known as vector interrupts, because CPU knows, okay, what type of interrupt it is, which ISR or inter service routine I have to perform. In non-vector interrupts, peripheral devices does not send any kind of address with it. Okay, so CPU have to determine what type of interrupt it is, and then it look into the ISR. So vector interrupts, when peripheral device gives the address of the interrupts, and non-vector interrupts when peripheral devices does not give the address of the interrupts. Okay, so there are three type of classification: external versus external and internal interrupts, maskable and non-maskable interrupt, vector and non-vector interrupts. Then type of interrupts. So most of the time we say that there are basically 5 type of interrupts, but reset is also, reset or power up is also kind of a interrupt because it's shut down the whole system and restart the whole system. So it is also come into the category of somewhat interrupts. Okay, so including reset, there are total 6 type of interrupts. First one is reset or power up reset. Then there are 2 external interrupts. Oh, sorry, there are 2 timer interrupts because in 8051 there are 2 timers, timer 0 and timer 1. So one interrupt for timer 0 and another interrupt for timer 1. Okay. Then hardware interrupts or external peripheral device interrupts known as int0 and int1 or exe1 or exe2. Okay. So these are the external interrupt exe1, exe2 or int0 or int1. These interrupts are pin 2 and pin 3 of micro port is 3. Okay, because port 3 can work as a input output or as a control port also. Then the fifth type of then the last type of interrupt is serial communication interrupt. Okay, serial interrupt. So we know that there are 2 type of communication with serial communication, THD communication and RHD communication, receiving and transmitting. So these two both signals are handled by a single interrupt. Okay, whether you are sending a receiving a serial data or whether you are transferring a serial data, these two interrupts are handled by a single interrupt. Okay, so these are the main 6 interrupt in a 8051. So what are the main interrupts? Time 0 overflow, whenever timer is overflow, that is time 0 overflow interrupt. Timer 1 overflow interrupt. Reception transmission of serial characters or serial communication. External event 0 or external event 1. Okay, so these are the again these events generates the trigger, okay, or interrupts in the CPU. It is a interrupt vector address. Okay, so interrupt 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the interrupts number. Interrupt vector address means 003H, 003 or 000B, 0013, 001B, 0023. All these interrupts have fixed address. Whenever there is external 0 interrupt, external 0 interrupt means any external hardware is generating an interrupt. So for this address is 0003. For timer or counter 0 interrupt, it is its address is 000B. For external 1 interrupt, it is 0013. For timer counter 1 interrupt, it is 001B. So these interrupt vector are fixed. Whenever a external interrupt 0 occur, okay, any peripheral devices give interrupt with this address. So we know that the interrupt vector is 0003. So CPU check first get this address, vector address, and from that vector address it goes to the inter-service routine at that particular address. Okay, and then executing, starting the inter-service whatever the task in written in that inter-service routine for external 0. Same with time, if time counter 0 interrupt occurs, so its address is 000B. So in interrupt service routine, CPU will microcontroller will look for this address 000B and start the execution or start the execution instruction whatever written at that 000B address and start executing until it occurs return from interrupt instruction RETI. Okay, so these are the interrupt vector address that are fixed. So whenever interrupts occur, there are various registers to handle those interrupts. Internal special we have seen the special purpose register. So TCON generally the TCON generally responsible for external interrupts 0 and 1. SCON or serial communication is generally responsible for receiver interest and RI for receiving interest and TI for transfer interest flag. Okay, so SCON, RI and TI generally responsible for or enabling or disabling or executing the receiver interrupts or transmission interrupts. I is a interrupt enable register. Okay, it enables what kind of interrupts can be disabled or enabled. We have seen there are 2 type of interrupts, maskable and non-maskable interrupts. So this IE register, interrupt enable registers, by using this IP register, we can mask any interrupt. Okay, and means we can disable any interrupt. Out of those 5 interrupts, we can disable any interrupts. So in 8051, all five all these five interrupts, external 0, timer control 0, external 1, timer counter 1, and serial port, all these five interrupts are maskable, means a CPU can disable all these 5 intervals, as well as all these are vector interrupts. Vector interrupt means all these 5 interval has fixed address. We know external 0 has address this one, we know time counter has this one, we know external 1 has 0013 address. Okay, so all 5 interrupts are maskable as well as vector interrupts in 8051. Okay, then there is a IP register also that defines the priority of the interrupts. Okay, or you can say interrupt priority register. So suppose whenever 2 interrupts come, which interrupt should be executing first? Okay, in that case of we use the interrupt priority register. Okay, to determine what is the priority of highest priority of the interrupts. So if you are not using interrupt priority register, in that external 0 has the highest priority, then time counter 0 has the lowest priority, then external 1 has lowest priority, time counter 0, then time counter 1 has again lowest priority, and serial port has the lowest priority. So higher external 0 highest priority, after that time counter 0 has the priority, after that external 1, and then time counter 0, and then serial port. So external 0 to serial port is external 0 highest, serial port is lowest, and that is the order of the priority. So if external 0 is come and time counter 0 come, and no priority bit is set in interrupt priority register, then first external 0 interrupt will be resolved, after that time counter 0 interrupt will be resolved. If external 1 and time counter 0 occurred at the same time, then first time counter 0's interrupt service routine will be resolved, after that external 1 time counter service routine will be resolved. But somehow you want to perform external 1 interrupt before time counter 0 interrupt. Okay, so in that case, this interrupt priority register is used that set the priority of external 1 higher than the time counter 0. Okay, so these are the main registers related to the interrupts. So we can enable or disable an interrupt using interrupt enable registers. Okay, that is IE register. We can enable or disable interrupt. If a bit is 1, then interrupt enable register is set, means it is not unmasked. Otherwise, it is masked. So how can set it? So these are the interrupt enable register: bit 7, bit 6, bit 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, EA for enable all. Okay, EA for enable all. Bit 6 is reserved for future purpose. ET2 interrupt for timer 1. Okay, sorry, interrupt for timer 2, because in some microcontroller there are 3 timers. So in that case there is a one more bit in that is ET2. In a case of 8051, this one is blank. ET2 is blank. Okay, so ES interrupt for serial, ET1 interrupts for timer 1, EX1 external interrupt 1, ET0 interrupt for timer 0, EX0 interrupt for external interrupt 0. Okay, so to enable any, EA is for enabling all interrupts or disabling all interrupts. If this EA is bit is disabled, okay, so all interrupts are disabled, but we don't check the position of these interrupts, whether it is enable or disable. It doesn't matter. If this EA bit is disabled, all interrupts are disabled. Okay, if EA bit is enabled, then we check whether these then we check individually whether these interrupts are enabled or disabled. Okay, so first to enable any bit, any interrupts, EA also be enabled, because EA bit also be enabled. Okay, So if we set a 0 to any interrupt, for example, if the bit of ex1 is 0, okay, then that interrupt is disabled or masked. In other term, we said that ex1 is masked. Ex1 is masked means ex1 is disabled, and ex1 is non-masked means ex1 is enabled. So if ea bit is set and ex1 is set, then this ex1, it means interrupt for external event 1 is set. Okay, so how can we set any interrupt? Either we can assign IE. Okay, this is either we can use direct instruction set B ET1. Okay, ET1 is for interrupt 1. It is the name given to this interrupt 1. So set B, bit means B for bit of the instruction. Okay, so set B ET1 or move IE 08H. Okay, IE में 08H means 10000. 08 means what is the value of 8? Okay, so 8 is the value of 0000100. Okay, so this bit will be enabled. Okay, so in this case, in this way we can enable or disable a particular interrupt. So that is the use of interrupt enable register. If you want to disable the interrupt for timer 0, that is, you don't want to be disturbed, CPU don't, or programmer don't want to be disturbed by the timer 0, CPU don't want to be disturbed by the timer 0, we can disable this interrupt for timer 0. So whether timer generates an interrupt or not, it will not you can say affect the CPU. CPU will execute its normal programming. Okay, these are the example of setting interrupts. Set IB I.7. I.7 means EA equal to 1. All interrupts are enabled. Then set IB equal to 4. Enable bit 4 means enable serial interrupt. Then set IB IE.1. IE for interrupt register, interrupt enable register, and 1 bit which bit we are setting. Enable time interrupt 0. Set B IE.2. Enable EXE1. Okay, so or either we can execute these 7 instruction, or we can give this address 100101110B. Okay, so at which address, which bit the 1 is set, that interrupt will be enabled, and if 1 is not set, for whichever bit this is 0, the corresponding interrupt is disabled. Or by using clear we can also disable or mask the interrupt. Clear IE1 mask disable timer 0. Okay, means timer 0 interrupt is disabled. Clear I7, if last bit, highest priority bit is 0, this one is 0, then all the interrupts are disabled. You don't have to individually disable the interrupt bits. Okay, you can disable all by using this bit to 1 or 0. Then next is interrupt priority register. Okay, so we know the highest to lowest priority. Highest priority is external interrupt 0. Then after that timer interrupt 0, TF0. These are the interrupt pin. INT0 pin, TF0 pin. Then external interrupt 1, INT1 pin. Timer interrupt 1, TF1 pin, and serial communication RI or TI. These are the highest to lowest priority interrupts that we already discussed. Okay, so if by default all the register in interrupt party registers are 0. Okay, all the register in this is the diagram of interrupt party register. So first 3 bits are reserved, and then the next one is, or you can say the 4th bit is for serial port. Then next bit, 3rd bit is for priority of timer 1. Next bit is for priority of external interrupt 1. Then next bit or 1 bit is bit 1 is priority of timer interrupt 0, and then last bit 0 is for priority of external interrupt 0. So by default all these bits are 0. Okay, so if all these bits are 0, then if two interrupts come at simultaneously, it will be handled by this priority. First external interrupt 0. If suppose, as I example before, if external interrupt 0 and timer interrupt 0 occur simultaneously, so by default first external interrupt 0 will be resolved first. After that timer interrupt 0 will be resolved. Okay, but in case of you can say sorry, but if you want to execute timer interrupt 0 first, then you have to set the priority bits. Okay, so if we want to execute timer interrupt 0 before external interrupt 0, so we will set this P20 bit to 1 and then PX0 bit to 0. In that case, the timer interrupt bit priority is assigned high, So first timing interrupt 0 will be executed. After that external interrupt 0 will be executed. So in this way we can assign the priority of the interrupts if we want to change the order of the interrupts. Okay. And this is the final diagram, or you can say how interrupts are work. These are the pins INT0, TF0, interrupt 1, TF1, RN1, TI. Both are set at the same TF2 and external F2. Okay. So TF2 and external F2 are for other microcontroller that has two timers. Okay, or has three interrupts from the outside. So these are the pins associated with the port 3. Okay, so port 3 have INT0 pins. We have seen in the block diagram that port 3 has the INT0 pin, TF0 pin, INT1, TF1, RN1, TI1. Okay, so first whenever an interrupt is executed, okay, these interrupts are checked by the interrupt INT interrupt register. We check the address of the interrupt enable register, whether these interrupts are enabled or not. Okay, if these interrupts are enabled, then we check in the global. This is the global enabled or no, global enable. Okay, if global enable is set, these all signals are disabled. If zero, then these all interrupts, this line is not, this signal is not touching this line, it means all interrupts are disabled. But is global enable EA is enabled or set 1, then all the interrupts are enabled. Okay, then we check individually whether that interrupt is enabled or not. If it is enabled or not masked, then we perform the, we look into the interrupt priority register, which has the highest priority, and based on the priority, okay, based on the priority we look into the highest priority. We execute the highest priority interrupt first, and then executes the lowest priority interrupt. Okay, or if the two interrupts have the same priority, if there are two interrupts which have the same priority, then we perform the polling. We can also perform the polling. Okay, polling means the CPU can execute in round robin fashion which interrupts should be executed first. Okay, so this is the general block diagram of interrupt, how interrupts were executed. First we check which interrupts occur, then in check into the interrupt enable register whether that interrupt is enabled or not. If it is enabled, we check into the interrupt priority register, what is the priority of that register. If it is a highest priority register, it goes to the higher priority interrupt. It is a lower priority register, it goes to the lower priority interrupt. Okay, so higher priority interrupt will be executed first, and lower priority interrupt will be executed later. Okay, so these are all about the interrupts. Okay, we will look more into the interrupts when we will see the instructions. Okay, 8051 instruction or programming, how interrupts occur, and how these programming handles those interrupts. So I think it's enough for today. So anyone have any question or doubt that you can ask? Please ask if anyone has any question or ask doubt. Otherwise, next lecture we will start from microcontroller instructions. Anyone has any doubt? Okay, then that's enough for today. Thank you all. Syllabus will be decided by the Mustaq sir, so I will ask from him, and will mail you all, or will reply here in the chat itself. Okay, so today I will ask to the sir what will be the syllabus, and then I think whatever will be covered before the exam, that will come into the syllabus, but a specific topic will be decided by the sir. Okay, so today I will ask from the sir and then inform you all. Yes, I will send you the PPT. Okay. Okay. So any other doubt or question? If not, then thank you. Thank you guys. Okay, so I am leaving the class now.